did.
Oh, Kisei! What up? Welcome back to the LCO, delivered by Menulog. It's dare time for me. That's why I'm over here. When I say me, I actually mean Skimmy. You're going to take this, and you're going to shake it. Remember to shake it.
We don't want to upset the TFT, or rather the Twitch Elite.
Exactly.
I've got TFT stuck in my mind.
And you're going to have a nice old big old sweet. Because you love dare, we love dare, we all bloody love dare here on the LCO. But we also love second halves of the day because we got big games coming up now. As PGG is Kanga, both these teams could definitely take it, and they both need these wins to solidify a spot in playoffs.
They are. I believe Kanga is only one win away from PGG, where PGG was originally hyped up to be the grand finalist contenders with Chiefs.
Yeah.
So this game is extremely important because I still want to see PGG for grand finals, and this game is really tough because PGG, Kanga, I might add, is actually performing extremely well. So
they really are.
tough to say who wins.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk PGG. So let's look at the roster. No real changes coming through today. Wait, the PGG, I'm pretty sure they have a sub, but I've just never seen them have to sub a single player out. They're just built different, Skimmy.
I think from memory, it's just DSN as their support sub.
Yeah?
Love you, Diana.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they, from memory, have anybody else.
They have Incursio and why not?
Of course. We just never see them. We just never see them because I see Incursio, Perma on Katarina duty, and why not just living his life elsewhere in the world. But regardless,
DSN is the labeled starting.
Yes. Regardless, Pentanet are here to play. And yeah, look, I mean, ultimately, what we saw yesterday for the first 25 minutes, phenomenal. Just the wave setups, the vision tracking of the jungler, the ability to try and rotate members and clean execute those ganks. It was just that moment around the Baron where they got maybe a little bit too far ahead of themselves, maybe 1 foot into that window of a victory screen, and lost their composure and sort of lost the win ultimately. But still, at the end of the day, on their time or on their moment in their time, they will deliver, and they will certainly prove to be one of the strongest teams
Rogue
here.
that was a smart idea?
No one, I promise you Rogue did it. I promise you Rogue just saw the smoke and was like, shiny.
Yo, this could be funny. And it was. And it really was funny. Good job, Rogue, for having fun at the media day. But at the same time, Kanga need to talk about this team because if Lemus plays like he did yesterday, well, PGG, Kitty, they're in trouble.
They are in trouble because Lima's, like I said last night, is either a blessing or a curse for Kanga because he will go forward on those hyper carries and he will make those plays. No matter how dangerous it is, he can pull it off with his mechanics, especially on the Aphelios with the Gale Force. We saw him solo engage in some of those fights.
Yeah.
And I think Tianxi actually has improved a lot ever since his debut, where the bot lane of Kanga has really become the shining star of the entire team.
I really need to ask Liv what he was doing in that shot. I'm sure there's a reason and I'm sure there's a why. But at the same time, another thing we need to touch on is Fido yesterday, unfortunately, didn't have the game that he needed to have and one that we sort of expected of him, right? Fido's been one of the key pieces of the puzzle through this sort of resurgence for Kanga. So if he cleans things up going into today, then I feel like that's going to be a huge power spike for Kanga.
Yeah, we spoke about this yesterday, but it feels like there's a really high upside to Kanga as a team if they're able to do as well as they did against the Chiefs yesterday without being at their best, right? It makes you feel like there's definitely a lot of promise for this team, and we've seen a marked improvement from them from, like, I think 2 weeks ago up until now as well. It does feel like steadily they've found more and more success. Against this team today, right, PGG, both are on the back of 2 losses. There's definitely been inconsistency there, but for what it's worth, in those losses, we've seen moments of absolute brilliance and a lot of positives to look forward to.
The main thing that's sticking out to me here is the fact that we are seeing PGG win the last 2 times that these teams went head-to-head. And I feel like they could definitely bounce back and make that happen here. Last time they played, I saw a little Nocturne sliding in there for Foreigner as well. And I feel like he's played a fair few champs, but obviously going up against Balkan just seems like Mr. Versatile here. So who do you pick in the jungle matchup?
Hard to say because, yeah, you'd always look at Balkan historically and say this guy's just insane. Very hard to try and outplay him in a jungle matchup, but it's not really worked in his favor recently, right? It's been a bit of a common recurrence, I suppose, from what we've mentioned, and even talking to Chippy's, right? It's just a case of like trying to translate those scrim performances, either from the drafts as to what their understanding is, like, you know, a strong champion on that certain patch, or just how they're playing and versing that onto a stage. So I would still probably give the edge to Balkan, but I think Foreigner's done a great job sort of slotting into this Kanga team and really leveling them up as a whole.
Yeah, and I feel like, look, mid needs to be that conversation as well, because you've got Yuri. Everyone's saying he's the best mid in the league, especially on his good day. But we've seen Fido pop off, and Fido sort of has this interesting champ pool as well. But that being said, Yuri's got a lot of champs that he can play too.
They both got a really funky champion pool, in my opinion, because one's got a Kalista mid, the other one's got a Tristana mid.
Yeah.
So why not just play ADCs in mid lane? Maybe we will see that, because they have been quite fond of those two champions in recent games.
Well, look, we have the man that we can ask about smoke machines here. That's Rogue. So let's bring him on for a quick conversation. What was going through your mind when you decided to pick up, the smoke machine and look down the barrel? That was dangerous.
It's all for content, guys. It's all for content. I am intelligent.
Oh, man.
It reminded me of the nightclubs, you know, like the smell from like the shh. So it took me back.
Took him back to his young days. But we do need to talk about how we actually had a player profile for Balkan's champion pool last night on the broadcast, where I have to mention this. Is the meta kind of hard affecting PGG recently in your performances?
I don't think so. I think our last few patches have been better. I think we picked up the meta a lot quicker than other teams, and we're kind of teaching them. This week has been probably the best week to practice, which makes like last week surprising. But the big thing I want to say, guys, is we're going into the third round robin. And if you remember back to Split 1, we actually cleaned it. We had like a 10 win streak going into Gauntlet. So I think this is the same kind of story, you know? We're like a caterpillar, right? We're resting in our cocoon all season. It comes to the third round robin, and then we emerge as this gorgeous, beautiful orange and black butterfly.
The metaphors. My goodness.
He's so good at talking.
Beautiful representation there. Now, talk to me. Yesterday's game, things were going right for a very, very long time. Have you established what you need to do today to make sure that mountain in the gold graph doesn't happen again?
Yeah, God, that looks like my my trading index and my stock portfolios right now, guys. We're not a good time with the. Yeah, as I said, we're butterflies now. We weren't butterflies yesterday. We're in the third round robin. We're butterflies, and I would say we're still the best team. And for me, for the rest of the split, we're just going to clean it all. The big thing I want to do is we're going to go grand final. We're going to play versus Chiefs, and so I want to get a game off them in the third round robin, just so that when we go into it and we're listening to the hype video for grand final, it's not just boring. It's not like, oh, they won every game. You guys have some good content to talk about. So that's
Hopefully.
what I'll my promise to you.
We do get to see you at DreamHack, which is 2 days, so buy your tickets right now. But you guys are about to play a really important game up against Kanga, where we've seen them pick up their game recently as well. So where will you start tackling them down in your match coming up?
Hey, you got the coach on speed dial right now, Kitty? You're trying to leak my strats? My God, you on the payroll? Kitty, I can't reveal the secrets.
Look, and on that
Secret
note,
agent.
even though Kitty's trying to expose you, I'll let you get into the rift. I'll let you jump on in and get ready for the game. Thanks for joining us, Rogue.
See you guys.
Rogue the Butterfly.
Yep. Love it.
That's why it's on the
feels
endless
fun.
couch for
This
last
feels
finals.
fun.
Strats, but I am a butterfly.
Yeah.
Is all I got from that interview. It's like, can't tell you anything, but whereabouts are 7-0.
Beautiful.
And I'm a butterfly.
When he mentioned his portfolio, all I could think was that GIF that you sent him where you're Lisa Simpson watching Ralph just go down the mountain.
Yeah.
Just one of them things. Kind of like the Dare fan vote, that you need to put your Twitch points in right now, or I'm going to be grumpy. If you have been looking at Twitch chat, I've got my laptop here. I've been in Twitch chat today, and I'll know who's been putting them in, who hasn't, and I'll get angry at you if you haven't, all right? So tell us how you think this game's going to go. Win some Twitch points, lose some Twitch points. It's all part of the fun. Get in it to win it. Prediction time. Let's see how split this one is. And I'm the only Kanga believer. One pick buff.
Yeah, it's been a curse, and then the curse was broken, and Skimmy can't win in the one pick buff. Kitty always wins in the one pick buff. I don't know where you stand in that curse, though.
I don't know.
So we're gonna find out.
I don't know. I know this one is a little bit, how's it going? But then the next one as well might be a little bit, how's it going too?
This felt super 50-50, Mac, because I was looking at Kanga's last game and thought they were insane. There's no way you challenge Chiefs that much, but in the same vein, I was like, yeah, Pensnet lost, but I still felt like they played that game really, really well for the most part, right? So I was like, really umming and ahhing in my mind as to sort of where I'd go, but I'm a believer. I'm a Caterpillar believer.
Trust in the Angry Gaming. They
Absolutely.
Lost, they
Angry
lost yesterday.
Caterpillars are
Gaming
Angry
doesn't
Caterpillars.
lose.
Okay, so you guys are butterfly believers. I'm going to go one more day in the cocoon, and then I might be a PGG believer. But of course, I'm really relying on that one pick buff / curse, whatever the hell this is. And Kanga, look, I did get swayed by Fido in that interview a few weeks ago, and that's when that one pick buff thing started to sort of happen.
Sure.
And I'm believing again, because he had his rough game yesterday, and I believe in Fido to absolutely pop off. He's got big talent in front of him in mid lane, but of course, him and Foreigner have been doing real well in general as that mid jungle. So I just want to see him keep up, and I want to see him try to play the best game. I feel like this could also, now that we are sort of at this point where if Kanga win, they're tied with PGG. The like narrative, the story behind what this win could mean for Kanga just feels like a lot, and it's something I want to hang on to because that means the race for 5th just gets that much more interesting, and that's what I'm sold on.
It does by wins. For what it's worth as well, PGG have head-to-head 2-0 already. So if they win and tie on standings, they're technically still below, but even in wins with 6 games left is exactly where you want to be, right? Because you need to be ahead of them by 1 win to actually finish ahead of them at the end of the season.
What were the 1-1s? Was that Order and
There's a lot of Order.
Direwolves?
And Peace. There was, I think, 2 Peace,
Order,
2
Direwolves,
Direwolves,
Peace, and
3
Kanga.
Order,
Okay.
and then like 1 or 2 Kanga.
I'm going to go check that out while you guys take us in through Champ Select, because Game 3, it's ready.
Certainly is, Mac. Yes, indeed. I'm super excited to see how this one does play out, because we are saying if it's a form check for these teams, if it is a time for crunching on down and showcasing your true potential, if you are going to emerge like a beautiful butterfly, it's time to do that up against some very scary kangaroos.
Very specific bans to kick this draft phase off as well here. The Lucian away from Kanga. They're the only Lucian Nami team. Cassiopeia away from Fido. The only Cassiopeia player that we know of in the league. The Yuumi stands true to just be a really OP champion that they're going to take off the board. We got Zeri locked in. Kanga given Pratis a taste of his own medicine here with no hesitation. We know Limas can play the champion, but I think last time we saw him on Twitch it was a loss, I believe. And it's going to be coupled with the Renata. So the flexibility now for PGG is that they can go the Lulu tech if they wanted. They could be a hyper-aggressive engaged support, like they could go Nautilus, right? They could find the Twitch. Renata's meant to diffuse that though. So it makes it a bit harder to build and draft that way.
Certainly does, and we do see a lot of protection usually if you are going to try and lock in a Zeri to ban away some champions that can certainly cause a few issues. And Twitch Renata has just simply won in lane for the most part, right? You take Ignite, you kind of just win trades, and you think this shouldn't really be the case. Pensnet, though, are going to lock themselves in the Gnar, the go-to champion. If it's not to be an Ornn, then it seems to be a Gnar. And a Silas as well. We have seen that from Yuri before, the 50k damage. It was a Leandros. He wasn't all about that defensive utility. He wanted to be a 1v9 machine, and we'll be hoping that this is what it takes to try and turn their tides.
Lived 3 of his last 8 games has been on the Gangplank, right? So this is something that he's very familiar with. I believe most of those matchups were always the Gnar. It seems to be the one time that he picks the champion and feels supremely confident with the choice. Has felt relatively good on it as well, I will say. And with this in mind, Balkan holding and hiding his champion of choice for the jungle role. We've seen a very diverse set of champions played by him, but this leads and lends once again into the mantra of not forcing meta junglers, forcing what works best for him. So right now, seeing the Zerian presumably something that may not engage as the matching support. Having Gnar and Silas who can engage, but they aren't usually seen as the primary, makes you wonder where exactly they will go, because I feel like PGG's composition is best suited to like Leona at this point, right? And then like you can see the Jarvan ban actually getting rid of one of the only real engaged supports that do exist right now. Twitch is a very low mobility champion, so it's actually a solid ban.
So when I start to look towards likes of what is in, perhaps even a Diana, but then you'd have a double
maybe?
AP, a Lee Sin certainly up there as well, but it does feel like the Lee Sin has had a bit of a fall from grace, but he's certainly a really good Lee Sin on his day.
Just pick Master Yi.
He will next week.
Just channel solo Q
He
energy.
certainly
Patch
will next
late,
week.
Who cares? Yone going to be locked in here. We should still believe that Yone can be flexed, but in this draft, it's very, very unlikely. Fido should just be picking that one. Sees his matchup, sees the state of affairs here. Gives plenty of time now for PGG to respond. They know they're full bot lane, so you're expecting to see a very comfortable champion locked in for Rogue. Doesn't go the Nautilus pathway, which makes sense. It is going to be the Rakan that can be much more flexible. However, Twitch Renata can still get the better of you if you're not careful. And this really is the champion that we're not too sure about. Lee Sin maybe works, but Rakan gives you all the engage you need compositionally.
Exactly.
You've got good damage mix. What do you actually need? I think this is such a flexible champion choice. And there's no more flexible champion than Lee Sin.
Well, if all was said and done, it really does just go down to that. You're thinking Rakan would be that way for maybe Balkan to say, I don't really want to be the engage. I want to be much more of a carry threat myself. But ultimately, that's what they feel relegated to, or perhaps just prefer. Simply put, as that will round out the composition here for PGG. Kanga, though, with one final pick. What is it going to be?
That'd be good.
Foreigner did actually have a fairly strong performance, although missed a few crucial ultimates with the knockback. But
Trundle and Poppy are probably the two, in my eyes, best choices. This is, oh, okay, a Lilia.
Okay.
You're going to completely mix it up. So Poppy would be insane value for the Steadfast Presidents, right? Like the fact that they all have a dash, Poppy could ground you, could deny the Lee Sin from an entry, Rakan from engaging as well, right, if you're positioned correctly. To keep your Twitch alive would be huge. However, the Lilia choice, much more consistent damage over time and gives them the magic damage that their composition desperately needed.
And there's a lot of very close range champions, right? So that Swirl Seed, or rather the Q ability to spin around and really get max amplification. Tons of movement speed too. Should find a fair bit of value, I'd say.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, close range champions is Lilia's paradise as well, and that's something that they will have an abundance of. So you should be able to find your entry into a couple of skirmishes and fights. This does still speak to me, however, as Kanga saying we're not going to engage unless you make a mistake, right? We're going to set up for objectives. We've got a Renata ult for disengage, Twitch for high range, Twitch Renata, great combo for consistent DPS. And it comes down to one of those angles that we originally saw from Mammoth, I believe, where their comp had a Yone mid lane. If you're going to force an engage, it's Phyto with the Yone ult that has to be a big proponent of that, or Lilia hitting a crazy E or something, or like a flash Q.
Sure.
To really force the engage and force the issue, because it's not as simple an execution, as simple as straightforward engage would be as PGG's comp.
Nowhere near as easy for them to be the ones pressing forward, as you say, a flash engage, a lilting lullaby to make it look ever so easy, then to follow up from that point. But from a protection point of view, insane value, right? A cannon barrage goes down, the hostile takeover as well. PGG want to go forward. That is something for sure that we can say with absolute certainty. And Kanga have answered the call and said, all right, well, we've got the composition built to try and handle that. And once we have a grip on how the team fight is working, then this spray and pray, this Twitch will certainly run amok amongst your ranks. Well, let's load into the Rift for game number 3. It's that third and final round robin, and a big game here between these two teams, as they are only one game away from one another. And a big ask to see, really, at this point, if it is to come down to playoffs performance, who can look to try and keep that dream alive. Well, Chippies is here on the receiving end from the coaching perspective. And mate, how are we coming into this one? Because I just want to quickly touch on that game yesterday. I mean, 25 minutes was looking so perfect. It was looking so strong. So I suppose in that regard, are we happy with the representation of scrim performance translating into stage?
Sup, G? No, we're definitely not happy. That was a pretty disgusting game. Everyone's feeling pretty bad about that one. But we're working very hard to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose despite the end result, it looked promising, right? The cohesion, a lot more of a sort of collective unit working on the same page. But talk to me about this one here, right? Coming into this one, what is the main focus? Because we've had long chats, right? What have we learned from that game? What have we, taken away from scrims? You're saying maybe a bit mind controlled or maybe just struggling to perform. So is this another case of just pure aggression? That's what makes Pentanet so strong and unique.
Yeah, we're starting to hone in on our team identity. As you saw yesterday, it worked a lot better early. Because before we were losing early when that shouldn't happen. For a team with Balkan and Yuri on it, losing early game was quite weird. But I'd say in terms of showing what we're doing in scrims, we're the first 5 minutes yesterday was good, so we just need to finish the rest of the game, I guess.
All right, high standards met by the man himself in Chippies. Well, we're going to leave you there. We're going to jump into this game. Wish you boys the best of luck.
Thanks, mate. See ya.
Really nice trade here by Pentanet.gg as we knuckle down and get into this game. It's going to be prior to the level 2 spike, where we've seen a lot of Twitches just upset all of the balance of these bot lane 2v2s and get themselves kills, but nevertheless, things starting okay for PGG. Jungle clear from Foreigner, going to be pathing from top to bottom on Vision right now as a ward was placed by Yuri at level 1. Engage on bottom.
Yeah, they certainly are. Looking for Limes. Nice handshake away though, so looking to try and get a health advantage, and it seems to be in favor right now. Still there for the side of Pantanep.
Winter able to completely unstopped and unchecked push the wave top as well, hit Meganar. Has got Hop at level 2 as well, however, so he's not going to be able to use his W and wallop any kind of minions or threaten Liv's health bar. Liv himself, of course, going for Q&E as his first 2, so not having the oranges. He's looking for a bit more control in his laning phase, perhaps trim the wave. All of this to say, Belkan hunting for angles, can't go top, can go mid.
Yeah, he's going to literally walk into lane and say that's as easy as it is. Yuri, fantastic timing there on the chains to give him a slight window with that rooted phase for the Sonic Wave to land. So Solemnbound goes out, but mainly it's Fido Burning Flash.
He's going to find the Scuttle Crab just completed. You would have seen the animation there at the very last moment of seeing the Scuttle Crab done. Lilia has the blue buff to go back towards. They're going to ping, be careful towards that buff. And Belkan just going to cross back over, grab that Scuttle Crab that he was looking for before. And everything continuing to just farm as normal. I do think that this favors Lilia just a little bit more, right? Happily taking away camp. Sneaking away the Scuttle was really smart prior to the blue buff. You don't know if you're Foreigner, if there is vision in this area, but it is safe to assume that there wasn't. Lee Sin likes holding his wards as well, just quietly, to be able to ward Hop.
Does, and that goes the Swell Seed, not going to find what it needs. Just a bit of a how do you do as he pokes his head into lane. Back to bot we look again as another trade takes place, and still Pentanet with the lead in that advantage. Lima's down to 50%, rotating straight back to mid lane. It's a 2v2, Fido in trouble. He has no flash, he's got no chance. Balkan gets the kill. Yuri sidesteps that one. And that's a lot of wave, or a lot of minions for them to also get as a second reward.
I feel like this was a really odd series of events from Foreigner and the full mid side. Limas ignited.
Oh, Pratis so unlucky not to land that wall. Ooh. Laser, that would have been lethal. Limas is burning on down, but not enough for the bailout to proc. 50 HP.
Extremely close to getting a kill down here. Pensanet.gg are just controlling the map, are just bodying Kanga out completely. Top lane starting with a CS advantage with a cloth armor start, so Winstrow not looking to die, but is farming up a storm. Bot is monumentally ahead. No teleports, no summoners from Limas, and the size of the wave that's crashing here is devastating for Kanga.
Certainly a big wave that really TXC can't do much to answer back with, just has to watch it fall on down, be in range for that experience. As you highlight the top lane matchup there for Winter, and not going to go for the fleet footwork with the Doran shield, opting for the grasp with that armor. More pots to try and weather the storm of these kegs.
Fido once again having a fight in mid lane. I am more curious about how this skirmish even started in mid, because what we saw was Foreigner walking in to presumably crash the wave for Fido to base. It's just kind of what it felt like. Liv feels dangerously close to dying, but Wintra, he's 1 minion off 6, so it's not going to time with being Mega Nah, but still that was very close.
Balkan's pinging. He's saying just keep him interested, keep him there for a little bit longer.
You would have to boomerang, but I don't know if Winter has the boomerang because he threw the house instead. So the base is going to get off. He's not going to be able to go there, and is instead looking towards mid. 6 to 5, could steal the ult.
Fido one camp away. Balkan literally going to walk at him and touch the ground. There's the Tempest, and there's the kill. Literally walks into lane.
That was so easy from Pensanet.gg. Foreigner is hunting Yuri, doesn't have the ultimate up to steal anything away, and it's just going to result in catching this mid wave. This feels like, almost like what Chippies was saying, this is a different beast that we're really watching through the early game for sure. Look at this skirmish once again. Again, the skirmish itself, you know it goes favorably for PGG. Yuri takes the 1v2 skirmish, knows that he has got Lee Sin hovering and nearby. It was just a little bit odd as to why the skirmish happened in the first place. We didn't get to see the full picture, but as the fight itself goes, again, supreme confidence, unbridled aggression. That is your stereotypical PGG.
If you think about really how they made their debut at the start of Split 1, right, it was an insanely strong game on a Trindamer and a Diana just came in and absolutely teared up a storm. I think it was like 10-0 between them. If they get kicking in the early game, then it's very hard to try and shut them down. And as you say, it may just be the missing link that's really been a sore spot for them. Winter in Mega now.
He's just juking until the...
He's just walking him down. Pops the cannon barrage on his head and says, will you still chase me? I don't think they really too mind. Rogue, the focus. Pops an Ignite, but can just dash away. Balkan meets Foreigner in the river. Both have level 6 now. One man looting Lullaby. Twitch has found the kill. They're going to turn their attention now onto the Lee Sin. There's the laser across the wall and a flash away from that Sonic Wave. Balkan wants it and Balkan gets it.
Yeah, Balkan does really well to find himself the kill, but it is Pratis who uses the laser over the wall to make sure that they have enough threat to keep them entertained, slow them down, and keep them busy. And they will end up getting the trade kill. Rogue ultimately didn't need to die. Just watching his side of that skirmish, chooses to go forwards with the knockup, but Limas had never expunged. He was waiting for Exhaust to end and was really gifted a kill, which is a massive equalizer for how far behind he has been in his lane.
Yeah, especially going for the Cull here. He just wants to farm up, respect what can happen here as Winter. He's looking for a dive. Oh, no, not going to land the wallop. So now we turn our attention back towards mid lane. Instant fate sealed away. I think Rogue just buffered it, but it's still not enough for the kill.
Yeah, just a little bit off there, being able to lock him down with the Rakan W. But still shows himself on the top side of the map. You've got the Lee Sin now moving up and pathing towards this area. Also, a Winterer is going to clear away the control ward in the Tri-Bush. Balkan with his pick of the litter. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? It is a 3-0 Lee Sin. The map is his oyster. He's going to go for the Herald though, and it shouldn't be contested given how much Lived is stuck under the turret. Watch this bot skirmish again. Again, the key factor here for me is that Rogue does get engaged on, gets ignited, is out, however, with his life intact, and instead of perhaps continuing to run away, commits himself to the engage, gets expunged, and Limas will get the kill. Foreigner hunting, searching for this. I think he flashes and dodges it, so TXC ends up getting kicked as a result. It's one of those moments where TXC is like, thanks, man.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. And could be seeing another similar outcome here top side. Looting Lullaby 5 seconds away, but the damage has already been done. The top laner has been lost down for 20 seconds. Winter has really had his number in this lane matchup. They're going to dive, and if they get that kill, they summon a Herald, and top lane goes from bad to worse.
Oh, Balkan's about to die. He could have put... Oh, because you're in combat, you can't summon the Herald straight away either. Stones throw away from perhaps surviving. Could have been a full turret. It's going to be a shutdown in the end. A 0 mana Lilia ends up getting a 1-for-1 trade under the turret. Unexpected result. Bot lane still consistently skirmishing, consistently fighting. Rogue down in experience presently, but this wave will give him 6. All things considered, it is still a 5-1 Lee Sin with a Gore Drinker done. Large jungler. That's exactly what PGG need if they want to win games in the LCO.
They certainly do. And this is what you subscribe to if you're a Pentanet fan. Early game aggression, stemming from the jungle, coming from the mid lane as well. And also, just in that bot lane, that's what we've really been, I suppose, missing more so than anything, right? The ability for them to try and take those straight 2v2s, try to punish people that just want to AFK farm. That's a nice chain on through. Yuri missed the ult. How about a second time? Fido's just absolutely crushed him under the turret.
Yuri goes for the play, and Fido just says, this is how you Yone ult. Locks him down under the turret. Balkan has killed Lived, but can we just continue to talk about the outplay from Fido? Because Liv dying, my man stole the kill as well.
With the cannon barrage, yeah.
Fido's been robbed. And there's your turret.
Turning to that scene of the crime and saying, well, I died before, but this is what we're looking for. It's going to get a second charge off because there's nobody here to stop it. This is huge for Winterer.
Yeah, the only tragedy for Winterer is that his Demolish proc actually went off to last hit the turret. Could have been an instant inner, but they will still get it regardless. And Pentanet.gg are just unstopped right now. Gold lead is absolutely ballooning. Cross-map play. You'll see Foreigner come in potentially. He gets spotted in the Tri-Bush. Yuri is still currently hovering that one, though. In fact, they are looking for Yuri. Good night.
Try and take the fight. He's been put to sleep, and then when he comes out, he can maybe look to try and do the same. Is it too little, too late? He doesn't have a Mythic just yet. He doesn't have a team, Rusty. It's a 1v4 in the river.
Yeah, Yuri was on a bit of an expedition by himself, just seeing what he could find. His team was very clearly on the top side of the map, right? They've just taken 2 turrets, summoned a Herald. They had a jungle camp to clear. And so you have to assume that Foreigner is down there. Yuri sweeps bot side of mid, gets caught, and to no one's surprise, gets punished. It's really well done by Kanga, though, to find that angle.
Right up there, stepping up to the wave a little bit too much, forcing Rogue to actually cancel his recall back.
Rogue's still with all summoners as well, I feel like it. If Kanga make a mistake, they can absolutely still punish you. They will be allowed to clear the wave, no issues. Foreigner not showing anymore, you have to assume he's gone back to base. We've had a day of very rough experiences for our scaling top laners, haven't we?
Which has been such an interesting adaptation to what was the go-to for such a long time. I think really Kanga at the forefront, what, weeks 4 to 5, I'd say, where it was just draft 3 scaling lanes and somehow still win early to mid. So
True.
Here we are, where that is being punished rightfully, and it's almost like a case where early game aggression is actually being rewarded once more.
And I will say Fido with the redemption round on that Yone mechanics just there. What we saw yesterday was a couple of big missteps. Really tragic use of the E from him, flashing away from combat and being dragged back. Inches dying. This time around actually puts the fancy feet on, but can he stay fancy?
Oh, he's landed that. I don't believe it. Balkan hits the Sonic Wave. That'll be just it. DingC is there to zone him away. Out goes the Soul and comes the damage. All attention, all eyes on this mid lane. Protect this tier 1. Winter is going to return back to top lane and keep Liv down.
Nada ultimate gets stolen. Balkan just missing the Q, was expecting a juke. Didn't get one. That weird dynamic between skill of players where you're like, this player always jukes if they're diamond. As you climb the ranks, they juke less. And it's just more confusing. Where do you aim for the least in Qs for? Just so much pressure, Skimmy. Just so much pressure on the top side of the map. Look at how much attention it is drawing from Kanga to try and defend this red buff. 4 people.
Yeah, 80 carries, only 13 minutes in, have been left on an island and been told you can do what you want, that's farming, and we have to try and put a lot of our attention towards protecting this top half. They will do so successfully, so Foreigner does get himself a red buff. He's been farming up at a very accelerated rate to try and, I suppose, compensate for the fact he's down 5 kills.
So Lima's now going to have a roam. Means he's going to miss potentially minions or experiences that is going to crash bottom. Pentanet.gg with a lot of freedom and ability to move down here. And Limas not being protected. The Twitch not being protected. Because they put everyone towards the red buff. Rogue in danger. But a full turret for a flash, I guess, is a transaction.
Pentanet's timing has been phenomenal, hasn't it? Just rotating around the map and just always first to deploy, first to find what they really want. And goes the hostile takeover that Winter is going to quite handily say, that's a shove! I like what your work is doing there, Yuri. I'm about it, I'm a fan. And Foreigner's going to put 1 member to sleep, but they're going to wake up. And it's not a nightmare, that's the dream. He just gets to walk away scot-free.
You know, the crazy thing about that Renata ultimate that Yuri stole is, I don't know if that is enough to kill Fido if Foreigner isn't showing to try and help. Because the second the Renata ult hits, oh, Limas in big trouble.
He's certainly in a lot of trouble right now. What does he have? A flash across the wall, fancy feet, wombo combo.
We've chucked the GP ult.
We have. I was just watching to see what happened there. Once again, he chucks out a Sonic Wave, not going to get juked. Oh, I'm just running into the base.
Yeah, I think what happens here... Okay, so
He ignited.
Yeah, so the reason that Fido does that is Balkan goes under the turret to die to just the Renata, right?
Yeah.
Because it is a 700 gold kill. And Renata was the last person to hit him. He's like, sick. Like, that's what I want. I'll just give you the money. It doesn't matter. It's a 1-for-1 then. Just ward hops under. But Ignite used by Fido. Maybe the flash.
He double summed. He's like, double sums worth for the shutdown here.
700 gold worth double sums. We will see for the coming objective fights, won't we?
Certainly will. Yuri this time running the Everfrost, so much more akin to what we used to out of the Silas.
Foreigner uses the Q, tries to keep his movement speed up to perhaps find someone. Ocean Soul slows him down, but they're going to kick this one off. No no Lee Sin. Yuri on a wide flank, but on vision.
First Drake went the way of Kanga, and the second will do as well. Look at top lane turret. It's under siege passively from the minions, so Pentanet could look to try and keep them interested and pick off a straggler. A TP actually having to be utilized there by Liv, and in he goes! That's what you want to see! Just a fraction too late! That could have been picture perfect.
The handshake buying just enough time to make sure that teleport was confirmed. Winter now threatening, is about to tick over to Meganar if they're not careful. You're looking at dive angles, so Lived is going to clear one wave and he's going to immediately walk down before he stays top lane. Wants to make sure that dive doesn't happen. Blade of the Ruin King's absolutely everywhere for Kanga this time around as well. But that Drake confirmation, really nice from Kanga for sure. Still going to be traded for Herald.
Yeah, and that's been the handshake, I suppose, of this game, right? You go for the Drake, you can passively look to try and work towards an Infernal Soul GG condition. You would love to have that damage amplification, no doubt about it, but Pentanet, with an early game lead, want to continue in that fashion. Up by 3k gold. Another Herald for them to utilize. That found 2 turrets last time. Let's see just how much work it can find this time.
Quick check-in as well with Kanga's composition since the draft phase. We haven't mentioned too much about this, but it has a lot of scaling. Crazy amount of scaling damage. Fido and Lived obviously want more and more items to ramp up their DPS. Twitch, it goes without saying, the more items the Twitch gets becomes more and more powerful, and TNC really wants those level breakpoints as well as many points as you can have in the W, so scales with levels extremely well is Renata. Keeping that Twitch alive for an extra 5 auto attacks after death is a lot. Late game for DPS output. Foreigner, of course, with this Lilia pick. You would say Lilia as a champion scales quite well, not necessarily with AP, but with ability to continue to be a pest in team fights, but
He's in trouble. Does he dare burn the stopwatch? No, he has to hold on to that for the flash ult plays. He just concedes his life down for 30 seconds. Pentanet final window to instantly summon the Herald. There's no plates, so that turret is just gone. Winter close to Mega, looking for a wraparound. He's got flash as well. In he goes, looking for the jump. Shoves in only one, but that's the target you want. Twitch is gone.
well and truly overstaying there. Kanga get picked off brilliantly by Winter, who finds the angle, times his Mega hop brilliantly. They'll get the picks that they're after. And that's the main point here, right? You can talk about the scaling of Kanga. Can they get there? Is that even possible? And doesn't matter when Pentanet.gg have some really nice scaling themselves, right? Between the Silas, the Zeri, and the Gnar late game when it comes to split pushing. Pratis not going to get picked off. Can just hop over some walls. Fido does still have the ultimate and ignite. Of course, one of those summoners has come back. But good pick on the Limas is the takeaway.
Absolutely. Perfect wraparound. And what a performance. What a redemption arc, if anything else, here for Balkan. 9-2 so far. He takes away your red buff. He's now looking to try and take away your life in the process as well. He wants those double digits. He's dying, he's burning, and he falls down to the dot of Lilia AP damage. That's another shutdown, but Yuri answers back. And he removes Fido from the equation. The cannon barrage is there. Pentanet are entertaining the idea. Yuri's going to die to poison. Dots are just OP.
Limas still hovering, still hunting to see if he could find someone, but he's going to be pushed back by the onslaught of auto attacks that Pratis sends out. Invisible or not, he has a read of where Limas will be, but the Balkan incident happens again. He just sees an angle, looks for a red buff, thinks he's got the play on. But ultimately the stopwatch is there, and it's really clutched by Foreigner because, first of all, the Q misses. Gets the stopwatch off just as he throws the Q out, and is able to actually get away because Renata's ult changes the positioning of Yuri to look towards Balkan instead. That in itself buys enough time for one, Foreigner to flash the wall, two, for Limas to get into the area and start picking them off with his ultimate. Just enough damage there with the expunge as well to confirm that kill. Kanga with a fighting chance in this game, only 4,000 gold down, still well and truly scaling into it. You can't make too many mistakes like that.
You certainly can't afford to give those ones up. Stopwatch utilized and instantly back to the bank and picks up a fully completed Zonias now. So another stopwatch, another stasis effect ready to try and bait out some very clutch situations. Well, 18 kills in this game so far. Kanga yet to find a turret, but Pentanet 5. So certainly have just been playing from ahead and will not want to have deja vu.
One other big thing as well is there's only so many kills the Lee Sin should be able to get. Limas is going to get kicked away. Balkan without flash, not going to be able to cover enough distance. Lee Sin's currently got 9 of the 11 kills of PGG. And while that keeps the Lee Sin ahead and can be strong enough to perhaps win full team fights by himself with these item spikes, you'd love a little bit extra onto the Stylist. Foreigner very much caught.
Foreigner's dead, unfortunately for him. Rogue is going to have a little bit of a look here at Fido. Limas with a flash away, but he's been exhausted, so he's not running anyway. Pratis says, I want some kills. It's my time to shine. He gets his first 2 of the game. That's the double. And then Yuri looks to try and pick off Lived, but he's slowed by their kegs, but the chains should not be too far away. A dash, hop, skip, jump, flash. And Lived will not concede another life. But the Pentanet steam train of pressing forward and being aggressive like their draft presents itself to be. It's a level 10 Renata. The question now becomes, who picks up the killing blow?
Of course it's Balkan. Why would anyone else pick up the kill? Baron going to be started here. Pentanet.gg becomes business as usual for them. They just hit the Drake. They know they're strong. They know they had Winterer in the area. And you can't help but really bring into question the choice of Kanga to fight. I think Foreigner just sees himself with his Zonias and says, like, I can get in here and it's not an issue. But doesn't have flash. You know, can't get right into the fight. This is one of those things that we spoke about from draft phase as well, is how do Kanga start fights? Yeah. And I think if it's Foreigner without flash and Fido not in the area, it's probably just not real.
Oh, Yuri's going to go to sleep for a second right now. Going to get comboed with his mid laner as well. A whole ton of CC. Who's there to back up? Solemnbound takes him back. Yuri in a similar situation. Misses the chains. Finds as much time as he can with that lifesteal, but ultimately gets put on down. An ultimate in retaliation just was not enough, and the river has just not been kind to him.
No, it has not, but they will find themselves Yuri for Kanga, which is a blessing in that there is now a Baron on one less person. Not a shutdown, not a massive deal for PGG, but in terms of setup on the map, it does mean that Yuri's not going to be as comfortable sitting in a side lane. And saying that a Stylist without teleport probably is going to be grouped more often than not. We'll see this fight again. Foreigner, we have to assume, is just looking to Zonias, but really is just dead. If he gets that off, maybe TNXT has a better ult himself, but Limas in range to be exhausted, just gets picked off. Fido not even remotely close to the area, and Lived left walking here. Kanga, the reality is, they've tried to get to the Drake too late. They had no setup to get there in the first place, and sometimes it's better to just concede instead of forcing. And they get punished massively from it.
Oh, an argument to be made of just cutting off an arm to save the rest of the body in that situation. As Foreigner conceded his life to try and invite a potential Soul Point GG condition. It's a big one for them, scaling with an Infernal Soul to play for too.
I mean, the crazy thing with that, Skimmy, is you probably don't even call it an arm in comparison, right? That's more like a finger. And then Kanga were like, just take the whole arm. Just take the whole arm.
Just amputate me.
You can just have it.
You can have that one for free. Anonymization coming out here. Balkan has now picked up the Black Cleaver, as well as Winter having a QSS as well. He wants to be CC immune, a big component of their hard engage. That's going to be able to shrug off that with the Lilia as well as the Renata too.
Level 13 for Lived is very nice for being able to get the kegs out in team fight. 2 items done for him as well. 170 CS to 200 doesn't matter too much for a Gangplank. He's able to equalize that through his passive. Isn't going to be one-hitting anyone in team fights anytime soon, but is definitely on the way. Fido, of course, with his Sunfire build, is a much more tanky to look for those engage angles and gives Kanga some kind of way forwards, not just the Lilia. But Foreigner does also have his flashback, so we are looking at an opportunity, while on the back foot, Kanga to maybe find something if PGG overstep. And if ever there was a team in League of Legends to maybe just go a little bit too far forward, it could be a Lee Sin following a Q that he has no right doing. As Gangplank has, I think that's a stolen ult.
I believe that's Yuri.
I think that's a stolen ult.
He
It's
stole
hard
that way.
to see visually, that one, isn't it?
Unless you pan across the map, certainly can't get juked out by it. No, the Baron fizzles out. They had 3 waves pushing, but I think as soon as they cleared out the wave in mid, there wasn't any more synced up with top, and that'll be all she wrote. So still, an 8k gold lead. It's a huge lead to talk about. Far bigger, double that of their lead yesterday.
And the Twitch is almost out of the game in terms of how far behind Limas is, has been pressured so heavily, and this is one of the big things, right? Like, PGG will get a lead through Balkan. He then transitions that lead towards bot lane, not necessarily for the purpose of killing them, but just being there means that Limas isn't comfortable farming. There's really been no time in this game where he's been able to comfortably sit in a side lane or pressure kills in mid, and Twitch is one of those champions that wants to get into the game as fast as possible to be a threat. Hasn't felt like at any point he's been individually a massive threat. Second item just done though, but 26 minutes in, that's quite late.
So he is considering just how quickly Balkan managed to pick up his mythic in this game. I believe it was like 9.5 minutes in. Certainly very accelerated.
So is Pratis, right? Look at the farm.
Yeah.
He's almost 100 CS ahead, 26 minutes in.
Flame Horizon's not too far away. Let's check in then with that total gold graph as 2 back-to-back Infernal Drakes have been picked up here by Pentanet. No surprises then that it will be Balkan and Pratis, as we just mentioned, that lead the line with 12k to their name. Incredibly strong. And I wouldn't be surprised now if Pratis is just going to go back to base and pick up an Infinity Edge.
Could 100% be able to get that one. Of course, because he's a good player, we'll have 2 control wards as well. Not going to neglect vision. From here, the only issue that PGG have is breaking the base. To try and break the base into the enemy composition of Kanga is tough. right? Gangplank just one hits your waves unless it's a cannon. Renata's all about kiting back. Lima's still quite safe if he's under his own turret, just throws out the W and slows you down. To engage into them is hard, and if you can't engage into them, you don't outrange them enough because you are a very small range, close range, whatever I was trying to say, composition. So you always are really reliant on Baron as a crutch to try and break the base.
100%. A little bit of CQC, close quarter combat for them. 30 seconds for that next Baron. That could be the buff that they need. But they are going to steal away the hostile takeover and say, we're going to force this fight one way or another. We're going to break our way inside of your structures to really try and force you out. What they can really get is a turret of Winter, entertaining the idea of maybe a cheeky kill off the bottom side of the camera into Foreigner, but it isn't enough.
Winter is a monster. That is my only takeaway from this game, is he's done so much work for them.
Yeah.
Even just threatening the Lilia there, the fact that they force Foreigner's flash means that Foreigner can't engage nearly as well. That's so large. And all he really does is walk over just before Mega Gnar, get 3 auto attacks off on the Hyper Proc, ult him into the wall, do damage. Just threatening. It's that raw threat. And speaking of, Baron threat on the cards.
Kanga to face check this one blind, and Rogue says it's my time to shine, jumps in with a quickness, locks in place 2, make it 4 people with the charm! Surely Penston now can put a bow on it. Lemus gets exhausted again and has nowhere to run or hide, no bailout, and no enchanter buff. Will it be a perfect team fight? It's certainly looking like that as Liv flashes away and says, I don't want to be a casualty, I want to really just run amok. I want to kite you from afar. I want to keg smash you down. I want to steal this red buff in the process. I want to be the hero, but no, cannot juke those chains. And Yuri gives them the ace.
He tries his best to survive, Liv, but at the end of the day, Pentanet.gg draw them out of the base. They force them into taking the fight. And on their terms, they will win a skirmish. They will win a team fight. It'll be a top lane inhibitor. It will be a Baron. Maybe the mid as well, as Winterer goes crazy. And they just get what they're after. It's just an absolute delight when they feel this momentum, when they start pressing forwards. 0 damage again from this Lilia pick. Has been absolutely struggling to get anything done. And again, the difficulties of dealing with this comp when behind. It's so tough.
Very tough for them. Another crucial ult taken away there by Yuri. Going to use the cannon barrage once again. Keep the pressure going. Winter putting in some phenomenal work, but the blind face check.
Yeah, and they try and take the proper steps. They try and go through mid. As far as we know, they were aware Baron was being done. They weren't aware of the disengage because the vision was cleared. But it's quite simple that Winterer gets the flank. They have the ability to cover large distances with a Rakan, with a Zeri getting over the walls. And once the fight had started against Kanga's terms, it was just a case of continuing to go forwards. And Pentanet.gg will be able to put the final nail in the coffin and lock down Liv. Clean team fight. And again, it's on their terms.
Round number 2 then, with this Baron buff. This time with a much more crippled base for them to work around. And look to really say, should have been a win yesterday. We're going to guarantee that we end this week with a win and start this 3rd round robin, much like Rogue really mentioned, evolving as a beautiful butterfly, flourishing into a very strong performance. A great way to bounce back. 27 kills. And Foreigner's still not going to have that flash up available to try and make that huge, clutch late game play.
They're also just ticking over to Mega Gnar as the supers crash in mid. You can see Kanga, no response. They can't stop that from crashing. They just are stuck dealing with these waves. 3 inhibitors are going to fall. Double supers will crash. I don't know if Pentanet.gg will let it get to that stage where the double supers are needed. They will pressure. They will force Kanga into going for an engage. And here they go.
Every ultimate up and available to try and utilize. Everybody going gold and trying to prevent all this CC there. Berserk, but it doesn't matter. Pentanet still looking to try and win this team fight. Cannon Barrage goes down. It acts as wave clear, but also as a deterrent. Ward Pentanet off. Give us a little bit more time to work with, but there's still a whole minute left on Baron. They just wait for those extra supers to come on in. Here they arrive now in the top lane. Another surging through the mid lane as well. That was round 1, and now it's round 2 to try and really end this game.
And they're just kiting. They're just skirting around the edges. They're just entertaining the thought of Kanga trying to go forwards, knowing that they can out-kite them. Winterer is Mega Gnar. No flash, but can get into the fight.
Oh, that's massive from Fido. Locks in place too, but another charm and a slam against the wall. Winterer, you absolute warrior, getting it done for the boys. He's played phenomenally this entire week, and this time he'll be rewarded with a victory, one that will feel ever so sweet. Pentanet now 3-0 up against Kanga.
And in the end, they will be able to clean up Kanga. They do a very solid amount of work in the early game, and the butterflies will emerge from their cocoon, and perhaps the beginning of a perfect third round robin is going to be there for Pentanet.gg. Was expecting the celebrations from Winterer. That's the
Honestly,
standard. Wasn't expecting the butterfly, but we should get used to this from Rogue at this stage. He's been Yumi before.
we've moved on. We've evolved from talking about dapperness to now just how good I am
We're
as a
just
butterfly.
butterflies now.
Sure.
Yeah, we're butterflying all over the set, all over the place. It goes well with a great TikTok I was making. Shot some of you guys behind the scenes there. You know, we have a TikTok now, by the way, if you didn't know. But great game. Balkan, angry gaming, entertaining, Lee Sin gameplay. I'm all here for it. I got my prediction wrong, so that's kind of sad. Congratulations, Rusty. I think we're tied up again. But at the same time, PGG, Gap and Kanga, and putting 2 wins between them and Kanga, which is a very solid position for them to be in, heading towards the playoffs. And this game, lots happened, including probably my favorite bit from the game was when we had a little bit of Fido Yuri action in mid, little bit of ult-on-ult action.
Yeah, I think mainly Balkan has just completely changed from last night till today. I mean, last night he did play extremely well, just making some few small mistakes, but we didn't see any mistakes this game from Balkan. I think he was like up and focused. I think he maybe had some OJ, like Rogue said, gets your concentration up and going. So really solid performance coming out of PG, especially from Winter as well. Winter did amazing. I don't think Anar has actually performed bad in recent games, especially I think Toppy also had a Nar game where he did pretty well. So I think Nar in OC is just kind of low-key broken for whoever plays it. And Rogue kind of just pressed ult and charmed 4 people because he's just that charming.
I think it feels good for Winter as well, right? I'm pretty sure he had a scorcher yesterday and unfortunately didn't have too much of a handle on what could happen with the game. But today, this man, his engages were all over the damn place in a good way. Lots of assists and some great celebrations in the player cams coming through. Shout outs to Rogue for doing the content work there for PGG. 15k gap in the gold right at the end. 32-minute victory. And look, everyone really did their damn job. Great engages from Rogue as well towards the end that you highlighted to me in the green room, Kitty.
Yeah, this is the second game today where we've seen a Silas do the most damage. I don't think Silas has been the standout star in these teamfights, but he just somehow manages to always reach 20k, where I think it was Kisei on the Silas first and now Yuri, where I don't think we highlight this enough, but good job to Yuri as well.
Really good usage of the ults as well. I'm pretty sure when he stole, there was like a Renata ult he used at one point just to get like an easy kill on Fido, who was low, trying to get away, but the Berserk just sent him straight back to his teammate there as well. So real sad days, unfortunate for Fido. He did have a real good crack at that mid one-on-one though, considering Yuri, everyone's touting him as the best mid here in the region at the moment. And today, look, when he did get going, he definitely got going there on the Silas.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Yuri is one of those players that has so much star power behind him, and he's got a jungler that has an equal amount of star power behind him. So as long as they do it in controlled portions and make their plays in appropriate ways, then yeah, they're going to be an absolute monster team to deal with.
Yeah.
Speaking of star power, I believe we've got one on the line. Pratis, are you there, my man?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Superb. Thanks for asking.
Love to hear it.
Superb. Well, great. It's been a while since I've gotten to speak to you. So how have you been? Well, you already just asked how you've been doing. You played an amazing game on Zeri. I believe you went deathless, which is not going to say like anything, but pretty rare for you because I do know that you like some minions in that mid wave. So what was the main difference between today's performance and last night's performance where we saw such a flip?
I think after losing yesterday, it became a scare that we might not be able to make playoffs if we keep trolling. So I think like everyone's just doing a little bit extra now to make sure that like we stop trolling. I think this game, like there was a little bit of trolling, but there was like no towers taken. We gave the objective we should have given, like the 2 dragons. Like I think we were a lot more disciplined. I think, yeah, it's just about like making playoffs. I think it was a bit of a scare for everyone.
Yeah, definitely a little kick in the bum there. Now, it certainly made you all play out of your minds today. I guess, look, going into next week, we heard from Rogue that you're looking to keep it clean, but you've got some big games coming up. You know, you still have Chiefs in this third round to take on. Are you expecting to be like the team that takes them down now that the pieces are starting to come back together?
I think I think this week, maybe some of last week as well. I think, and throughout the whole split, I think we're definitely the team to beat. I guess it's kind of stupid saying that because we are losing a lot, but I think that like we are really on that level that by the time playoffs come, like, and best of five start kicking in, like, hopefully you'll see what we're actually capable of, because best of ones and just like, I don't know, just like the games on stage, we're just trolling a lot. So I think like second round robin, we'll probably keep trolling a little bit. Like we might not go undefeated like last split. I think the whole of the last round robin we went undefeated, but I think like you're going to be looking at it like a better team for sure.
Well, look, Order made that lower bracket gauntlet run happen. If you guys don't get any higher than 5th, you guys can definitely do the same damn thing, right? And you are best of 5s, best of 3 teams. So I'm looking forward to it. Either way, enjoy the sweet dub to end the week, Mark, and we will talk to you next week, maybe.
Thank you.
Good to know that he was doing pleasant, doing superb, as he actually worded it.
You look like he had a lot of fun at Media Day, so...
Yeah, he said some things. We figured out that he might not be the best reader unless it was just all a show for the content. Rogue was there.
Marky.
No.
Who knows?
Never know with Marky.
You never know. It could just be something.
Cryptic man.
Any cryptic answers for the Dare MVP? Anyone that we want to throw out there that no one else is expecting?
I've got 2 candidates. Okay, so you either look at Balkan for like the fact that you can go from a performance like yesterday to then just popping off out of your mind saying, I am the king for a reason, and don't disrespect me, but also Winter just for how well he's played today and yesterday. So I'm really conflicted. I kind of lean towards Winter a little bit.
I can't choose, hey.
But it's one of those 2.
What do you think?
What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I would
you're
give
the
it to
challenger
Winter.
player.
I think Winter's Gnar was kind of nuts.
Yeah. Okay, I'm in the same boat. Nah, big man.
Sorry, Balkan,
big
next time.
TPs, big towers, big job in top, and a little bit of help from Balkan.
Job's
So
the
honourable
job, mate.
mention to Balkan.
Job's on.
Job's on.
But Winterer, too damn good today. Give it to him. The Dare MVP was Winterer up in the top lane. Oh, sheesh. Sheesh. 309, 52% KP. Pretty good for a top laner. I don't know what's going on here on the couch. Hopefully Winterer does.
We're just missing a rusty
Just
one now.
enjoying the new photo? Is that?
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Mr. Handsome.
I feel like if 2 people just start saying sheesh spontaneously, you might want to give context. Sheesh. But the people at home just saying, what's going
People
on?
know what the
These
context is.
knuckleheads.
Look at the
handsome
photo.
individual just getting it done on the roof.
Yeah,
Job's
on, mate.
And, he doesn't beat around the bush, does he?
No.
Is that his dare?
Have we actually heard a rusty sheesh on broadcast? Did
Never.
you?
No, not on broadcast.
Why do you never
We do
partake?
need one.
Because I have a ruined throat.
Give us a baby sheesh.
No.
Someone take that dare away from Skimmy.
No, you keep going, Queen. And I'm going to keep going.
King.
We're going to go straight to a break before the final game of the day, which is the match of the week. It's Peace and Direwolves just after this.
And Rogue says it's my time to shine. Jumps in with a quickness, locks in place 2. Make it 4 people with the jump. Surely Pinson now can put a ball in it. Lemus gets exhausted again and has nowhere to run or hide. No bailout and no enchanter buff. Will it be a perfect team fight? It's certainly looking like that as Liv flashes away and says, I don't want to be a captain.
Hey, look, menu pog.
AD, you're not an AD, like, carry item, which is where you went.
Oh. Prowler's Claw?
No.
What's
Two more
the
guesses.
other one?
One more guess.
There's a lot of them.
I know what
Don't
she
give
means
AD.
by that question.
Prowler's... Oh, I don't know the name of it. It's like the... Am I called Stridebreaker?
Yes!
Yeah, you are.
Really?
Yeah. Because you got the dash in it.
Who's the 5th person on your missed calls list on your phone? Not a lot of people call me. I might not even have 5 missed calls. Yeah, my 5th missed call is a spam number because I get spam calls and text messages. My information gets delivered to the scam centers. What if I scroll down till I actually see a real phone number.
A few moments later.
There's a sushi restaurant that tried to call me in September. Oh, McDonald's tried to call me.
Why are food places calling you?
It's probably to do with like delivery, because I would try to like order stuff and then like they don't have it. So then like they call you and like, oh, hey, we don't have this. Do you want something else? What phone app can you not live without?
Probably Discord. I think I use Discord like a lot, but I'm on my phone outside, so I'd say like Discord is the phone app that I like more deal. You're stranded on an island with no internet, but you can have one song saved on your phone. What song is it and why?
I'd want something that would motivate me to do something. It's a meme song that's used for like, how do I describe it? Yeah, okay, it's called Legend by Tevez. Do you want me to play it or?
I mean, you can play it. Stop right there!
You've been arrested. Who is the first person you call and why?
I think the first person I'd call is my twin brother. He wouldn't like freak out. I feel like if I called my parents first, they'd probably freak out. I'd probably call my twin brother to see if he can help me. If he can't, then I'd probably just call my parents.
It's more understanding.
Yeah, because like my twin, he's less the judge, I'd say. I can pretty much tell him anything, so he'd be the first person